Paul basically was talking about how much he cares for Hannah. Basically, I didn't hear half of it because I was trying to find my iPod so I can sing her a song. So I'm probably gonna have to look it up on my phone or look up the lyrics. Just figure out the lyrics and then I will sing them to Hannah. Let's see if I can find it. But, basically, I told you earlier that Kevin had asked me to marry him. Yes, I'm 17 turning 18 in 2 months. But, like, it's just so cool how, like, he has asked me to marry him and stuff like that, yada yada, I'm excited, I'm really happy because I said yes, and he just broke out in happiness, he was so excited. He said that he was gonna go to the jeweler tomorrow and get me fitted for my ring and stuff like that, and all that other stuff, I was really happy, and, it's just like people have said before, when people find somebody that they truly love and they want to be with that person, in my opinion, I think that people should fight for who they love because it's a good way to, it helps. And if I were to be able to just be able to talk to people like I do to you guys, it would be so cool. If I could preach to the whole world about the way I preached to you guys tonight, that would be so good. But what I don't know for sure is people out there in the world who don't have the same privileges as we Americans do. Like in Africa, their government is so different than ours. And when I was at the lock-in, there were two elderly couple who went to Kenya, and I kid you not, these two people, the elderly man put his hand on, there was an 8-year-old boy throughout his whole life was blind and could not see. And when his mother took him to this tent for the revival, and the elderly man put his hand on this boy's head and prayed to Jesus and prayed to God to make this boy see, the boy all of a sudden could see. And after a year later, they came back, and the boy was shutting doors on his own, walking on his own. He could grab things on his own. He could walk around and not hurt himself on his own, and he could see. Then there was another incident where they went to Kenya, and a 3-year-old had Down syndrome, and he couldn't walk on his own. He couldn't stand on his own. And the elderly man put his hand on this little boy's head and said that make this boy walk and stand on his own. And all of a sudden, he could walk and stand and run on his own. This little boy could walk and stand and run on his own. And it amazed me. And then a year later, they went back. And an elderly lady, or she wasn't really elderly, she had arthritis in her leg so bad that she had to use a cane to walk. And the old man put his hand on her head and prayed that God and Jesus would make her run and stand and walk on her own without the use of a cane. And she got up and ran out of the tent. She ran and kept on running. and she stood, raised her hands to the sky, and you could tell that she knew that God had done this for her. She knew that the Lord and Jesus had done this for her. And what I'm trying to get at is that you can fight for what you want and what you love and what you need. You just gotta believe in God, and you gotta believe in Jesus. You gotta believe in your family, your friends. You gotta believe in people that you don't know. You gotta believe in everybody in the world can be who they want to be if they can just search the skies for what they believe in. They can search at the northern star. They can search for the eastern star, the western star, the southern star. The northeastern, the northwestern, the southeastern, the southwestern. Anything. All they gotta do is they gotta look up at that sky and pray and say, Lord, I need this. I need you to do this for me. Do this for me. Give me this pride and faith and hope and love and everything. And do this for me so I can move on with my life. And that's my religion to God led me to Hannah. My religion to God and Jesus led me to Paul, to you, YouTube, led me to Kevin, led me to Sama. Sama is my little stuffed animal buddy. Led me to my dad, led me to Kenny, led me to Mary, to Time, to Josie, to Jennifer, to Ariel, to Amy. And it led me to all these wonderful people who would give everything to somebody that they didn't even know. To Ed, all these people came into my life because of God. God led me to these people. And basically, I wouldn't be here right now if it weren't for God. If God wouldn't have told me how to love and how to live and how to have hope and faith, I would be hanging on a noose right now, or stabbing myself, or shooting myself, because I thought I had no life, when I had a life. I had you, my friends, my family. I had Hannah, I had Paul. What would they think if I was gone? What would they think if I wasn't here? What would they think if I never even existed? I could be dead today. I would never have existed if it weren't for God, who saved me when I was born, who saved my sister when she was born. Me and my sister could have been dead if it weren't for God, if it weren't for Jesus, who stood at my mom's bedside and prayed that I would survive, that my sister would survive. And if it weren't for them, I wouldn't be here. I would have never been brought into this world without them. And this whole video is probably about an hour long, but I want this to be a movie, because this is me telling you guys my story, and Paul telling you guys his story, how he rose up from darkness and evil and dark things that he was thinking of doing, and how he just couldn't do those things, and how he just wanted to just disappear and never, and just, he thought that nobody would know that he was gone. But God came into his life, took his hand, held him in his arms, and showed him the way. And where's Paul now? Paul is that happy-go-lucky dude that you see today. The happy PT Trolls wouldn't have existed. Taylor Hodgesify, RP Studios, Wolfpack Television wouldn't be here today, wouldn't have flourished today without Paul. Great Oak wouldn't be the greatest school without Paul. Temecula, California, everybody in this world has a way of dealing with things. Paul goes to other people, the video world. He takes it by storm, and he just does all these things because he fell out of. He came into the light. He's done all these things for people because he cares, he loves, and he cherishes his life. Because you don't know how much your life means to people. And he was in so much darkness and hate and fear and unfaithfulness, and he just couldn't face the fact that he thought that he was all alone in all this. His teachers didn't care, his friends didn't care, other people didn't care, his family didn't care. He just didn't know what to do. But the only person who would care for you, who died on that cross for you, is Jesus and the Lord. They are the only people you put first. Like my daddy says, my father told me, always put God and Jesus first. Never put anybody first other than God and Jesus. Because they were the people who died for you, who gave you your freedom, who gave you those ways and the rights and the freedom and the faith and the hope and the love and the worship. They died for us. Those people should be the only people you put first. And they didn't know what to do. And God rose from everything, and Jesus died and reincarnated and came walking down Jerusalem and died for us, for our sins. He became our sacrifice for our sins. Like I learned this Wednesday during youth. We all have sins. We've all done bad things. But we all can change that. There's a story that I heard about a man who was a major alcoholic, drank every day, every night, 24/7, 7 days of the week. His wife gave birth to a baby who had a sickness and needed surgery for it to survive. The doctor's wife gave them money to pay for the baby's surgery, and that man took that money, went to the nearest liquor store and bought alcohol, and the baby died because of that. And at the baby's funeral, that man took its own baby boy's shoes and took it to the pawn shop and got 27 cents and bought alcohol. And he was filled with so much guilt. His wife left him, his family disowned him. He was all alone and lost in darkness and sinned. And he was gonna head to the lake where he lived by and drown himself because of his guilt, until he passed a church. They brought him in, and he sat down, and the preacher was standing up on the stage and talking about how everybody has sinned, but the Lord can change your sins and change your heart. And from that day forward, that man went to church and changed, stopped drinking, had a family. he grew from this alcoholic who stole his own baby boy's shoes just to buy alcohol, to a man who has 4 kids, a beautiful wife, who he's now grown old with. And he's going to church every day. He's preaching. He's doing all these things because God changed his ways. And Jesus changed his ways. And that's exactly what Paul did. Paul saw Hannah, and a new him bloomed from inside. And he thought, wow, this girl can change my life. And he became Hannah's best friend, his brother, sister, They became brother and sister. And the more he hung out with her, the more feelings that grew within him for her. And Hannah has become so used to him being brother and sister that she doesn't know how much Paul cares for her and how much Paul loves her. And we've all gone through things that we don't understand, that we've gone through so much, and yet nobody has had the single right to come and pick us up from our feet and tell us to just love God for who he is and what he has done for us. And now I understand why I was brought on this earth. I was brought on this earth. I was created so I could change people's lives. I was brought here to bring people up from their darkness and evil and hurt, and pick them up and mold them, change them. And that's what I did. And now I have people around me who, I love so dear to my heart. And, it's just a thing that I don't want to lose. And, I don't know what I would do without them. Staring at you, girl. Oh. Anyway, back to this sad moment. We are going to, I am so excited that we did this video because, everybody's gonna be happy and think, wow, what have we done with all this? What have we done with our lives? If there's people watching right now this exact video and they're thinking, wow, what have I done with my life to where I can't even do these things. I need help. I need faith, and I need hope and love and care and worship. Just do what I did. Go to a church, listen to what they have to say, and if you don't like it, then don't go to church anymore. They're not going to force you into church. Well, maybe in California, but people here in Texas, they go to church, but they go to church because they want to. They don't go to church because they have to. They want to. They want to worship God. They want to worship Jesus. They want to be able to be safe and happy and know that the Lord is watching them. And you know, there's a lot of things that people can do. And all you got to do is just believe. I guess now would be a good time to sing my song because I finally found it after like 30 minutes. But I'm kind of nervous right now because this is going to be all over the internet. But
I've told what I've had to say. You've told what you had to say. I think you can do this.
Well, this was the song that I want to sing for Hannah, for you, Hannah, for Paul, for Kevin, and for everybody out there who, you know, couldn't, you know, who wants to find that somebody. And this song is by Rascal Flatts, and it's called Bless the Broken Road. What I think of this song is, what I mean by broken road is the past. And the broken road basically means to me purifying it, changing it. And that was our thesis for today. Our main motto, our main objective for today was changing our ways and loving and caring and being faithful and worshiping. And everybody has their ways with dealing with things, and that's basically what I've been trying to say. I almost died because I wasn't ready to come to the world. And now I'm a grown, mature girl who's gonna be married in the next 6 months. And this is something that has grown since my first breath, that I was gonna be blessed to see people who can't be seen, to hear people who can't be heard. And I was blessed with that gift because I know that people would be able to understand how I felt. And now that I look at my drawings, I see the 2 drawings that my friend Jonathan Sanchez drew for me. The day that I was leaving, he drew me pictures, 2 pictures of me and him as wolves, of course. And he was my best friend, my brother, and yet he had feelings for me that I didn't want to ruin. And it's kind of like you and Paul, Hannah. Jonathan loved me more than a sister, more than a friend. He loved me like he would love Bella, his old girlfriend in England, who was gonna fly down here and see him over the summer after his graduation. And Jonathan was so comfortable with me. He told me almost everything. He told me everything about what happened at home, at his old school, and he loved me to death. And I didn't want to ruin that. And he drew me those pictures, and the day I was leaving, for the first time for 6 years that I've known him, He broke down in tears because he didn't want me to go. He was in tears because I was leaving. And I cried because I was seeing my own best friend cry because I was leaving him. And now I look back of all those years that I've known him, and he had my back for so long. And he was my best friend. He drew me every picture. He drew me a picture on our 2-year anniversary of my character Sorora, of course, and his picture of Delta and Admit. And we had our little thing going. He made a huge comic for me on my birthday and then on our 4th year anniversary, he made me another picture of Sorora and Admit, and they were hugging. And you know, just to prove my point, Jonathan loved me, and I was just like you, Hannah. I told him it would be awkward if we were together, and you know what he said? That's okay, I'll still love you the same way, just like Paul's saying. But my mistake was I didn't give him a chance. You can change my mistake. You can give Paul a chance. Paul would never hurt you like Derek did. Paul would love you for who you are, not for what he wants you to be. He won't discriminate for how you draw. He won't discriminate or be snotty. He can be sarcastic at times. He can be a jerk at times. But he's not like Derek. He's not like Cody. He's not gonna use you. But all you have to do is give him a chance. And basically, this song, I'm kind of nervous to sing it, but I really want to sing it, but I've never sang in front of so many people before, because we have like a whole bunch of people watching these videos anyway. But it's called Bless the Broken Road.